Okay, so we're back with part 3 of my 2023 everything tier list. I believe out of 5. One of the next 2 will be my reading list. The other one of the next 2 will be the movie list. Don't know which one I'll do, but right now we are on video games. And I believe there are 27 games here. And on the one hand, that number excites me. I find that number encouraging. Because it's not that far off from the number of games I have for 2024 that I want to beat. I think I'm at about 30 or so. And I know there's probably going to be some games that unfortunately I just don't get to. But that averages out to about 2 games a month, plus a little bit extra on the side. Two a month with some change, and I like that. Unfortunately, I did not finish all 27 of these games. And there's a non-zero amount that I just said, I don't want to do this anymore, so I stopped. So I think in terms that I actually beat, the number is probably closer to about 23, 24, which is still not bad. Again, it's about 2 a month. But it goes from, yeah, that's super encouraging to, alright, that's not too bad, I guess. So, as always, what I like to do when I do a tier list is explain what all the tiers mean to me. And like I also say, and I've been saying in every one of these videos, just in case you haven't seen any of the others, let's go from the bottom to the top. Bottom of the fucking barrel. If you've seen the others, you already know what's going here, because I know I've mentioned it in at least one of them. Probably both of them. And if you followed my channel this year, and if you happen to see a particular 4-hour-long diatribe, you probably know exactly what's going here, and I won't lie, you're not gonna be disappointed when you find out. But we'll get to it when we get to it. But to be the bottom of the fucking barrel, there are 3 requirements. Requirement number 1. You have to be at the bottom of the list. Seems self-explanatory. Number 2, you have to be actively disliked. So if it's a list of things I like, the example I always use is Toy Story. Toy Story 4 is my least favorite, but I fucking love that movie. So there you go. It is the least favorite. It is at the bottom of the list, but it is not actively disliked. Thus, Toy Story has no bottom of the fucking barrel. And I have to dislike it so much, and hate it so much, and be so fucking bitter about it, that I don't think you can make something worse. It's... Oh, sorry. I need another drink of water. I just finished eating a gingerbread cookie, and I can still kind of feel the... I don't know, like the dryness of it in my mouth. She sells seashells by the seashore. She sells seashells by the seashore. Okay. I think I feel a little bit better with my mouth. Hopefully now we can talk right. Okay. So bottom of the fucking barrel. Like I said, 3 requirements. Be at the bottom. Be actively disliked. And so fucking dog shit that your badness will not be topped. The Snoop Dogg tier, which does not show up on my tier lists very often. And as I said in the last video, it has nothing to do with Snoop himself and everything to do with his song Drop It Like It's Hot, because this is for shit that I dropped, that I just said, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to play this anymore. Sometimes there is an active desire to go back to it, and it's almost more of a, I'm going to stop and I'm going to put a pin in this. Whereas others were just, I'm not vibing with this. Sometimes from the word go, sometimes a little bit later than that. I'm like, I'm sorry. This just ain't it for me. F means I fucking hated it, means it's dog shit, means I think it's a failure. Maybe there are still some good things in it, but I still just hate it. As I always say, D and C, to me, are kind of the twins. They're the mid, it's okay. C is generally more neutral. Either I just don't have strong feelings about this, or there's almost as much good as there is bad, so it all does kind of meet in the middle and cancel each other out, leaving it being more neutral. Whereas D is like, yeah, this is disappointing. I think it's kind of mediocre. It just didn't work for me. But it's not this level of bad. B is, I respect it more than I like it. Maybe it's, again, talking about video games, maybe it's maybe there's some, the ass of the game. Maybe there's some aspects of the game that I really respect. Maybe it's the themes. Maybe it's, you know, like like its legacy and what it helped start. But the rest of the game itself just doesn't really do it for me. A means I just really like it. Like, I can gush about it. I think it's neat as fuck. S means it is competing for being my favorite. I don't like how I phrased that. Something about it sounded right. It is a contender for being my favorite of whatever I'm talking about. So for games, if you're an S, you are a contender for being my favorite game that I played in 2023. And if you notice, most of these were not games that came out in 2023. And the double S is the king shit. Like, this is my favorite. Of all the games I played, this one was the best. Maybe other things came close, but nothing truly topped it. And I'm gonna be honest, I think I know what's gonna win, but I'm going in with an open mind. I don't think this is a year where, with everything I played, I have a, like, dude, it's this. This is the double S for XYZ reasons. So I think when I get to my S tier games, I'm gonna have a few in S, and then I'm gonna have to figure it out. And you know what? I'm excited for that. I like not knowing what is gonna wear the fucking crown. But we are going to start, usually I try to put something in B, like I'll put the first thing in B because it's near the middle of the screen. With Snoop Dogg, C feels more like the middle of the screen, so that's where we're going to be going. Starting with OG Bioshock. I have played Bioshock Infinite before. It's a game that I remember absolutely fucking loving. I have not played Bioshock 2. I'm not that interested in playing Bioshock 2. But a friend of mine recently played through the whole trilogy, and he seemed to like 2 quite a bit. So I have some degree of interest in it. But for me, the original Bioshock was a big bucket list item. I'd heard a lot about it. I'd heard about the twist. So, like, I knew most of the plot going in. So I wasn't surprised by much. Which on the one hand is a disappointment. I've never been able to play Bioshock completely unspoiled for the first time. But it isn't the kind of experience, though, where you can see all of the buildup and all of the foreshadowing. And while you don't get what I trade... I don't know why my brain is just fried right now. It's just, I guess, one of those evenings. Hold on, let me get another drink of water. Let's see if that'll do the trick. Ugh. I feel like what I trade in surprise, I more than make up for in almost like the craft of it, like the craft of the storytelling here. And I think that's really cool. I think my favorite scene in the game, it's not the a man chooses, a slave obeys. It's right before it. When... What's your main character's name? I want to say Jack, but I don't know if that's right. So I'll just call him Bioshock. When Bioshock goes into that little room and he just sees "Would you kindly" written on the walls in red, because like it's right, you're right about to learn the reveal, and it's just kind of telling you right now that like, yeah, those 3 magic words, they're not very pleasant. You're about to find out, and you get what are they called? I don't remember if they were just called radio messages or if they were called something specific. But you can pick up radio messages throughout the game. They give you like little bits of lore, and I thought they were really cool. You hear the one with the doctor what's the word I want? Conditioning? Conditioning might be the right word. But, like, conditioning Bioshock with Would You Kindly and the puppy. And it's incredibly unsettling. And given that you're just seeing it written on the walls in red, and you're listening to this, if I didn't know, that's the moment when you know. And I think it's really cool. It's super creepy. I love the atmosphere of this game. I love looking at Rapture. I love being in Rapture. I love, like, the lighting. I love the music. The music is so good. The gameplay, I'm not crazy about. I'm generally not a huge FPS guy, and I'm generally not a huge survival horror guy. Like, again, like, I really like the atmosphere of horror games, but I don't always love playing them. That being said, the weapon selection is where it's at. There is a Tommy gun. It's not just a machine gun. It's not just an automatic rifle or an AK-47. It's a Tommy gun. Yeah, that's kind of fucking cool. You don't get a sniper rifle in this game. You get a crossbow. And that's what you use to look down the sights. I'm like, okay, that's cool. Your melee weapon is just a fucking wrench. I don't know. Maybe it's just the sheer unga-bunga-ness of it. Maybe it's the fact that I played Clue. There's just something about your weapon being a fucking wrench that's really cool to me. My favorite weapon, which I talked about in my video for the game, is the chemical thrower. This thing is awesome. You can freeze shit. Your fucking ammo is napalm to set things on fire, liquid nitrogen to freeze shit, or, I don't remember what the other one was. It was like plasma. It was an electric-based thing. It was either plasma or it was just like electric gel. So, but you're just zapping shit. And I remember it cleaving through the final boss's health. And it was awesome. Yeah, playing as a Big Daddy sounds cool, but when you actually do it, like, it doesn't really change how Bioshock plays. You still have your same weapons. You don't get the drill hand or like a cool rush move or anything. I thought that kind of sucked. The escort mission with the little sister, it's not particularly fun. I felt like I couldn't go 4 minutes in the game without running into a turret or a security camera, and I didn't find that fun. I think the weapons are fun, but I just, for the most part, didn't find Bioshock that fun. Which is not good for a game. But the atmosphere is so good. I think the story is so good. It's a game I have a lot of respect for, and that's why I wanted to play it so bad. But I don't think I would say I respect it more than I like it, because there is enough about it that I really do like. I think I would put Bioshock in A. Maybe as I go down the list and do talk about more games, maybe I'll put it in B, because I feel like it's an A or a B for me. But I'll be nice. And I don't even want to say it like that. It's like, well, you know what? I'll be nice. Like, no, like, I want to be nice because I feel like I did enjoy so much of my time with Bioshock. But there were parts that I kind of hated. But that's why it's not up here or up here. Next up, CrossCode. So CrossCode is a game that I was watching Clay play in the early parts of the year, and he was really getting into it. He was like, I think the combat is fun, and like the exploration is fun, the puzzle solving is super fun, like here's all the really like cool crazy shit you have to do with puzzles, the story is fantastic, I can't wait for you to play this so you can do the story. And the more he was talking about it, I had two thoughts at once. Thought number one was, I should really play this game. The combat does look kind of fun, and it sounds like the story is just really interesting. You know, maybe I should stop watching him play, and I should stop letting him tell me about it, because I want to experience this for myself. The other thought I was having was, wow, I think these puzzles look like shit. Because I am not a puzzle guy. I'm going to be 100% honest about that. Especially if a big part of the puzzle is about timing. If it's like for example, one of my favorite puzzles in Zelda is in Skyward Sword and Skyloft, where the dungeon is a slide puzzle, and you're like moving around the rooms of the dungeon. I love shit like that. I think it's super awesome. But when it's like, okay, you got to hit this thing, and then hit this thing, and make sure this thing is lined up in the right position, and if you do everything right, you still have to make sure you're fast enough to stand on this thing, and if you do that, then you finish the puzzle. I hate shit like that. I just do. And there were some puzzles in CrossCode that are very much like that I saw. There are a lot of puzzles like that I saw Clay do, and I was just like, I don't want to play this. I can tell I'm gonna have a miserable experience. But I did decide to finally play it, and I kind of did have a miserable experience. I just couldn't get into it. I do think the story seemed really interesting. When I made the decision to drop it, I asked Clay to tell me what happens. It's like, yeah, that sounds like some interesting shit. That sounds like something I would have loved. But I just couldn't get into the gameplay. And it wasn't just the puzzles. I actually didn't find combat all that fun. I don't even remember what it was. It just didn't grab me. And I was playing it for a bit. I put a few hours into it. But I was like, it's just not doing it for me at all. So I dropped it. Sorry, I just remembered this old ad. I don't remember when this came out. But it was a TV thing. I don't know if it was specifically TiVo or whatever the fuck. But it was about blocking channels. And I remember a couple different versions of it. There's one where there's this father sitting down with a character at his table, and he's like, dude, I want to talk to you for a little bit. I think your show is great. Like, the stuff that you go through, you know, dealing like your homelessness and your drug addiction, it's really interesting, but it's really mature. A little too mature for the kids. So I'm gonna have to block you. And the guy sitting across the table from him just, oh no. And there's another one where it's like these three gangsters are in this woman's kitchen. And she's like, yeah, do you guys remember the other day when you hit Vinny in the head with a shovel? And then the two, like, goons behind the mob boss starts laughing, and the mob boss, like, quiets them down. Yeah, that was violent. A little too violent for the kids. So I'm gonna have to block you. You know what? You are such a wonderful... this is Vinny's watch. I think you should have it. I think he'd want that. And then her just tried to shoo them out of the kitchen. I don't know. Me just like... So I had to drop it. Just reminded me of... So I'm gonna have to block you. Duh. Speaking of games that I dropped, I didn't finish Earthbound. I did not get into it. I did not get far. I don't even think I got to Tucson. Excuse me. I finished the giant step. That's about as far as I got. I know that's super, super early. Earthbound is one of those weird experiences for me. Because I've seen people play it. Not the entire game, but Clay played it last year. I watched him play through a chunk of it. I've seen a couple friends of mine play through a chunk of it. I've seen the AVGN video where he's playing through chunks of it. I have seen a lot of different people play Earthbound, talk about Earthbound. Oh, excuse me. And it always seemed to me like, kind of like with CrossCode, a game I could really respect and really appreciate, but that I just didn't think I would enjoy playing. And after playing through the first level, and again, I know it's only like the very start of the game, like it's probably going to get better and more interesting. Like, I don't know, like I've seen how the game plays from here on out, and it to me just doesn't look that interesting. I think the rolling health meter is a really cool and interesting mechanic, but it seems like it's a while before you have enough HP for it to really matter. the story, it seems like for a lot of the story, it's just kind of, here's a bunch of weird, goofy, offbeat, quirky shit, which is fine, I don't mind that, but I also feel like I've seen a lot of this. And again, not just in like, yeah, like I've seen quirky shit before, like, no, like, I've literally seen these scenes before. Yeah, and I've seen different people play it, I've seen different people talk about it. I feel like the things that people like about Earthbound, I don't have to play the game for, and I feel like I've already gotten that. I watched Clay play through the endgame, like, all the Gygas shit, so, like, I got that experience. That's really cool. Like, I think it's super fucking neat. And even that, I was like, I feel like this would hit me so hard if I played through the game. But after a bit of playing it, and I will also be honest, I was not in a good place when I was playing it. Like, I had lost a family member not too long before that. And honestly, quite a few of the games I dropped, not CrossCode, I had already dropped CrossCode before then, but quite a few of the... Wait, what game? Oh, that was Terrapagos. Sorry, I was just like, what the fuck is that? Oh, I can see the turtle. That's Pokemon. But there were a couple games I was playing around that time. Maybe it was just one other that I ended up playing through and couldn't get into when I dropped. And I think the reasons I dropped them are legit and they are genuine. They just didn't click with me. I guess I'll go and skip ahead and talk about that game next, too. But I feel like with Earthbound, there might have just been this sense of, I'm not in a good place right now. I'm running out of time for the year, so I'm a lot less patient. I could feel my patience running thin, maybe a little quicker than usual. I do feel kind of bad about that, but I'll also say, I feel like I've gotten what I needed from Earthbound from watching other people play. I don't really intend on picking it back up, so I'm gonna leave it there. The other game I dropped around that time was... where is it? There it is. Persona 5 Strikers. P5S. I played through the first Palace, the, like, Alice in Wonderland shit, which if you've seen some of my videos on this channel, you know I love me some Alice in Wonderland shit, and I haven't read the book, and it's, like, the first book I plan on reading this year. The Klonoa VN doesn't count. I love P5. When I played Persona 4 and I finished it, I said to myself, this is my favorite video game. When P5 came out, I said to myself, if this, like, I love P4 so much, I'm expecting this to be better. If Persona 5 is not the best video game I have ever played, I am going to be disappointed with it. I was not disappointed with it. I was like, this is my favorite game. Then I played Royal. I was like, for the most part, there's a couple things where I would disagree. But for the most part, yeah, I think Royal is an improvement. Royal definitely feels way easier and way easier to break. I don't have a problem with that because I played the original game. So for me, the fact that Royal was a lot easier and, like, I could do stupid shit, I was like, yeah, I feel like I'm playing New Game Plus. I feel like they are letting me get through the game faster. And it was still, like, 100 hours. I think my final time in Royal was about 120 hours. And there's a lot of shit I didn't do, man. I loved it. So P5 and P5R are two of my favorite games of all time. They have since been dethroned as my number one of all time. Shout out Trails in the Sky. But they're still very high up there. The reason I bring all that up is to let you know I have a very strong bias toward this series and this Persona 5 sub-series in particular. So the idea of playing as Joker, seeing the Phantom Thieves, being back in the P5 version of Tokyo, with a lot of these familiar personas, the music, that's great to me. And all that shit I think is great. Boy, I was fucking bored playing it. The action felt so, like, meaningless and Weightless and Hollow. And I played Kingdom Hearts at the end of the year. I was playing Kingdom Hearts 3's data fights. Like, there's a reason it's the Garden of Assemblage is the picture, because it was just the data fights. Where the combat's very floaty, and there's parts of it I don't like, but it does not feel hollow or pointless. I feel like I have to really earn my fights and my wins. I just didn't really get that. And even then, like, regular enemies, you just kind of blink and they're dead. But then mini-bosses and bosses feel like they have so much health that they're a slog to get through. Bosses have a lot of health in this game, especially the ones I was fighting. They don't feel like a slog. Because it feels like when you have your openings, you can make them count. You only need, like, a good handful of combos to kill a boss. It's just getting those openings in. I feel like even when I got openings in Royal, like, I'm just not doing that much damage. I just don't like how this feels. I know when Fate SR came out, which I still want to play, it's on my list for 2024. My big worry is that it was a Muso game, and I've heard it's not. So that makes me a lot more excited about playing it, because I just don't think Muso games are for me. Speaking of which, I know I'm kind of skipping around here. I did try to play the Senran Kagura Neptunia. I don't know why this happened with all the pictures I saved, but a lot of them got cut. That's supposed to be Neptunia's face over there, who's just, not. But I tried playing the Neptunia Senran Kagura crossover. Kind of the same shit. I played it for a tiny bit. I was like, this is not fun. This is pretty boring. Like, I like my goofy, dumb Senran Kagura shit, but this isn't that fun. Maybe Estival Versus is just the only one I actually liked. And even then, it's still like a Muso game. But I don't know, maybe it's because it was my first one. I kind of got into it. I thought it was fun, and there was an actual story there. Believe it or not, I was like, there's actually an interesting story here in this Senran Kagura game. I thought this series was just really dumb fanservice-y bullshit, and it is. But there's a little more, there's not even a little, like, there's genuinely more depth here than I thought. And I appreciate that. Then I had played Peach Beach, and I was like, cool, like, I actually care. And then playing Peach Beach, like, no, this is exactly what I thought Senran Kagura was going to be. But now that I thought it was going to be something a little more, yeah, I'm kind of disappointed here. And the Neptunia crossover, which I've never played Neptunia, I just didn't really get into it. So I guess while I'm going through all my Snoop Dogg tiers, let me go ahead and do the last one, and that was Path of Radiance. And I will say, out of all of these, Path of Radiance is the one that was less of I dropped it and more I put a pin in it. It's also on my 2024 list. I was having fun with Path of Radiance, but there was this one map that just kind of broke me. Because I beat the map, but it introduced a character for me to recruit that I couldn't recruit during the map, and who kept attacking me, even though she was going to die if she attacked me, and she killed herself. And it made me so mad. So mad. And I had done this map a couple other times. And now I finally got it because there was some bullshit. And not like bullshit, but I was like, there's a lot here that I have to deal with. But I finally figured it out. This idiot. I let her go. I wanted her to leave. She specifically left the fight, went to go heal, and now she's doing this. Apparently, though, what you're supposed to do is unequip your weapon. Why the fuck would I ever want to do that in a Fire Emblem game when shit's gonna be attacking me? This is dumb. That makes me so angry. But the thing that really broke me is how fucking slow the game is. Now, I've since heard that you can fuck around in the options of it and make the game actually move a lot faster. Which at that point, like I said, I found it out after the fact. I had already dropped it and said, I do want to play this at some point, but I gotta move on and do other shit. And that was back in February, maybe March. Yeah, it had to have been February or March, because I wouldn't have played it until after Engage. Because after Engage, I was like, fuck, I really want to play more Fire Emblem games now. But, the fact that it's so slow bothered the hell out of me. But getting into, like, the actual strategy and shit, I think it's fun. Yeah, I had to restart some maps. I'm like, alright, someone died. Fuck, because that just feels like how I'm supposed to play Fire Emblem. But I genuinely was enjoying all the tactical shit. I just hated how slow the game was. And, yeah, like, I hated how stupid this NPC is. I'm like, she's a wyvern rider. I feel like I want to recruit her, but... Ugh. So I believe that is everything that goes in the Snoop Dogg tier. So now, Final Fantasy IX. This is not a game I started in 2023. I played most of it in 2022. But I did finish it in 2023. Specifically, I did play the original PS1 version, and I don't think I played it on a PS1. I think I played it on the PS3. Like, that doesn't really mean anything, but it's not like original hardware. I don't know, I just thought I should bring it up, because some of these I actually did get to play on original hardware. The first third of Final Fantasy IX is immaculate. It is impeccable. It is... The second third of Final Fantasy IX is immaculate. It is impeccable. It is... The final third, the third third of Final Fantasy IX, I played it, but I didn't like it. I love the political shit in the first two-thirds of this game. Dealing with Garnet's mom, dealing with the evil queen, and Kuja, her... I was trying to say her, but I guess I had some phlegm in my throat, and it almost sounded like I said whore, and I did not mean to. But is Kuja, who is the queen's, that being the her. It is her magical arms dealer. And boy, that sounds fucking cool when you say it out loud. And he's also, I don't remember if he specifically dealt in summon spirits, but I think there's a scene where someone summons a summon spirit, and Kuja just kind of no-sells it. Like, that's fucking cool. I like that a lot. I generally like Zidane and Zidane's vibes. I think he's cool. I love my boy Clanker, also known by his real name of Steiner, but every time he walks, because he has a suit of armor, there's this clanking sound, and it's awful, and I love it. It is wonderful. I genuinely like his story, his arc, a lot. You have Freya, who's a character I really liked until the game just kind of forgot about her and she stopped being a character. Even the immaculate parts of the game have their problems. I was like, man, I really like her. Oh, she's just gone. And when someone's gone from the party, when they rejoin you, they didn't train, so their levels are a lot lower. I'm like, well, Freya, I guess your part in the story is over, and you're so low level now that your part in the game is, like, in my party is over too, so, sorry. And then there's Kina, who at one point married Vivi. It's one of my favorite scenes in the game, where Kina and Vivi are having their marriage ceremony. Kina turns to Vivi and just says, "I'm so happy," and turns back, and Vivi's just sitting there thinking, what the fuck am I doing? What have I gotten into? I know this isn't real, that we're just doing some shit so we can move on, and we have to do it in pairs, and Zidane did it with Garnet, so it's okay, but what am I doing? You have Aiko, who I really liked. Yeah, her crush on Zidane, the way Clay made it sound was it was a little creepy, and it's a little bit much, but for the most part, I think it's fine. I actually find her to be absolutely adorable, and I had her and Garnet both in my party, because I liked the double summoner setup. And, like, yeah, there were some on Garnet that I think were more to be Ooga Booga just fucking shit up, whereas Ico's were a lot more support-based, and I thought that was really cool. I also, if I remember correctly, I don't remember if Garnet had Holy, but I remember Ico did. Maybe they both had Holy. Then we get Vivi. Vivi's the best part of the game. Like, 100%. I went in knowing that everybody loves Vivi, everyone adores Vivi. I'm like, okay, but I hope he's as good as everyone says, and he's not. He's even better. I love him. I love the Black Mage Village. That is actually my favorite part of the game. Vivi and the Black Mages and their interactions, and probably my favorite moment in the entire game is when that fucking chocobo egg hatches. And I don't remember what character it is. It might be Ico, but someone's like, a monster! One of the Black Mages says, it's not a monster, it's a chocobo. He's called Bobby Corwin. And I don't know why that had such a profound impact on me, but it did. There's just something about, like, these Black Mages who aren't how is this, like, I know Vivi is in Kingdom Hearts, but how is this shit not in Kingdom Hearts? Vivi is literally a character who's, like, doesn't have a heart, but does have a heart. Like, oh my god, like, how did you not do that, Nomura? Why did you do Vivi so dirty when you put him in 2? But these living dolls just wanting to take care of something and finding meaning in their life, finding purpose in their life, finding the genuine beauty of living life, and finding it in this fucking chocobo egg and saying, I'm gonna name him Bobby Corwin. And I don't know why I love that name so much, but I do. So when it was last year, the Christmas present I got from Clay was a Mimikyu plush, but instead of being cosplaying as Pikachu, it's cosplaying as a Sylveon. And I love it. And this thing is big. It's a lot bigger than I thought it was going to be. And I just decided, like, I am naming it Bobby Corwin. And I love Bobby Corwin. I really, really like a lot in this game. Then you get the last third. About the Saiyan race, a bunch of, blonde-haired monkey people who are gonna conquer and destroy the world, but one who was supposed to do that got dropped on their head and don't remember, and is a very just fun, loving, goofy, likable person who ends up finding about their whole backstory. Does that sound familiar? And I did not care. I'm going to be honest. I was like, you guys, like, the world you have made, the story that you have set up is so good and so interesting, but what are we doing now? This just did not click with me at all. And I'm so upset that it didn't. Because I get why it does for people. And not just the sense it's like, oh yeah, it's similar to Goku and whatnot, but it's like what they do with Zidane's character. The "you are not alone" scene. My understanding is that it is one of the most beloved moments in all of Final Fantasy. And I just found it Zidane insufferable throughout the whole thing. I really, really wanted to love that. And I've talked to Clay about it. He's like, that's like my favorite scene in the game. I think he said he cried during it, and I can understand why. But I was just like, dude, I'm sorry. It just annoyed me. Like, I felt like with the person he is, and even with everything, like, I'm thinking, again, like, I can't help but compare his backstory to Goku. When Goku finds out about that shit, he's not like, oh my god, I am an awful person, I'm gonna destroy everybody, now I have to push everyone away. Goku's reaction is, fuck, I gotta go save my son. Like, it doesn't matter, like, who I was before I got brain damage doesn't matter. What matters is who I am now. And who I am is someone of this planet, someone with a lot of friends, someone with a family, and someone who's gonna kick your ass. Yeah, Zidane does get there. But he was... Zidane, you don't get to talk to Vivi that way. That's what did it for me. It's like, when he started talking shit to Vivi and, like, bullying Vivi... Because he's like, you know, I gotta be... What Zidane is trying to say is, I need to be alone. I am not okay right now. And his friends want to be there for him. I've been in that kind of situation. I know what it's like to just be like, I need to be alone for a bit. You don't get to talk to Vivi that way. That is not okay. I mean, I think Kuja's interesting on paper. I don't know. He just didn't do it for me. I don't know, maybe it's just because of his design. I'm like, dude, I'm sorry. I cannot take anyone who looks like that seriously as a threat. And then I fought him. And then I said, I can't take anyone who looks like that seriously as a threat. This game isn't hard. This game is irritating. I don't like ATB battle systems. I really don't. I love turn-based combat. I adore turn-based combat. I don't like ATBs. I just don't. I hated how slow this game was. That, to me, was the biggest thing that made combat difficult, was my fucking patience. And just having to just sit there and wait for my turn. And then when it was, like, you can't skip through spells. Maybe you could. I don't think I could skip through spells. Now, with summons... For the most part, they would kind of skip the animation of the summon, so I didn't have to. I'm like, I can't really skip animations. It takes forever to get to my fucking turn. So often, that, like, one thing I would often do is have, like, Vivi cast Reflect on everybody, then cast Flare on everybody, have it bounce off the reflections, and then hit something for massive damage. Which is fucking cool. In a regular turn-based game where, you know, this is how many times you have to reflect, this is how many turns to reflect is up. Now you can do your shit. Works great. In an ATB, I'm like, it's finally Vivi's fucking turn. Oh no, the reflect wore off. This has been his second, like this is the second thing I had him do in this fight. The first was cast fucking reflect. Why? Why is he so slow? He has haste. And boy, like, I found that kind of shit infuriating. I did not. Oh, I forgot about a character. I didn't even forget Amaranth as a joke. I just genuinely forgot him because he's such a fucking nothing character. Oh my goodness. Like, for me, the first 2/3 of this game are an easy S tier. But, even with the S, there are problems. Namely, the gameplay and how fucking slow it is. The third of the game is like here. I did not have fun playing it, and I did not care for where the story went. So I have to put it here. Maybe even here. Like, that feels low. That feels really low for everything I love about the game, but it also kind of almost feels right. But I am going to put it here for now. For Vivi. For Vivi, for Garnet, for Bobby Corwin, and for Freya, when she's in the fucking story. And I do like Clank. Everyone but fucking Zidane, and Kina, and Amaranth. Yeah, for most of the cast, it can go up there. Fire Emblem Engage. Oh, I hate this game so much. The reason I hate this game is because I fucking love this game. And I spent over 100 hours playing it. Because my dumbass... What was the difficulty? Is it Lunatic? Nightmare? I don't remember what it's called. But I played it on the highest difficulty I could when it came out. And most maps took a couple attempts to do without anyone dying. And by a couple, you even on average about 2 or 3 in like the later parts of the game, where enemies are ludicrously fucking strong and their numbers are absolutely insane. And each attempt would take a couple hours. And I remember finishing a map after like 2 or 3 hours, but I lost some crucial people and saying, I can't do this anymore. It was a combination of that and doing Alir's paralogue. I was like, there are way too many people here, and I can't kill them. They are way too tanky, way too fast, do way too much damage. I literally cannot beat this paralogue. So I switched the difficulty. I switched it down to hard. And wow, the game was so much easier. What was the last map I did on night? I think it was 22, because it was Alir's paralogue and the volcano were the maps that broke me and maybe changed the difficulty. And I think the volcano was chapter 23 out of 25 or 26. I did most of the game on the harder difficulty. It's a lot of fun. I had so much fun playing this game and making builds and finding builds and just crazy insane shit to do. I know people say Yunaka and Korin is the god combo because she can make the fog and nothing can hit her. Yeah, but that doesn't help if I'm trying to keep everyone alive. What helps is giving Korin to Alir, or as I named her, Crust, because toothpaste. When she has Korin, she can use whatever terrain she wants. And the best terrain that I found was fire. Because what fire does is it significantly limits enemy movement. Like the little ice things, that will obstruct, and you can make a little line of defense, but there's so many fucking enemies. Maddening. I think maddening was the name of the difficulty, and that's incredibly fitting. There's so many fucking enemies on maddening that, like, okay, that'll protect you from maybe 2 of them, and then you're gonna die. The fire, though, you're like, you guys can't actually move and hit me. So that's kind of why it was so slow. I was like, we have to slowly convoy and make our way through the map. Also, something I did a lot was double fire, where I would use the fire, dance, use the fire again somewhere else, so like double down in the same spot to thoroughly restrict movement. I remember that helped me a lot in Ike's paralogue, because that shit was rough. But I tried other things that didn't work, and then when I started doing the double fire, everything clicked. It got me through so much of the fucking game. Speaking of Ike, Panette got me through so much of the game. Panette is an absolute unit. I can't remember her name. I want to say it's Marin, but the wolf lady. I gave her Lynn, and she was doing absolute fucking work. Jean was also kind of a monster. I remember I gave him Byleth, which I think that's what gave him a lot of, No, it's Celica that I think gives you extra range on your magic, but I think Byleth did too, and Byleth has the Goddess Dance, which was really helpful. I remember cheesing Celica. I don't remember how. But there's something... Oh, no, that's what it was. Because I think what I did for Celica was I hit her with, I think I hit her with Lynn's ultimate super early just to aggro her really quick. And then she just came over to me, and then we were able to take her out. That was really fun. Lynn's map was a pain in the ass, but it was really fun. I remember the map with Vale. I think it's the final map where you fight Vale. I did not beat it my first attempt, and it took a few hours, and I was pissed. So I said, fuck it, I'm gonna beat this in one turn. I have an idea, I don't know if it'll work, I'm gonna see if it does. And I did. I did not get some of the cool extra weapons that were on the map, but fuck it, I was angry. And it worked. And the fact that it worked was so satisfying and felt so badass. I loved it. Chapter 17. The 6 on your side, 6 on ours. Is so good. I remember watching Clay play this game. Because he played it before I did. It's his copy of it. And when I saw him play Chapter 17, and all the crazy shit that was going on, like, alright, you gotta fight 6 bosses. And they all got emblems. Go. Figure out how you want to do it. I looked at it and said, that looks so fucking fun. I want to play that on Maddening. I want to get to this map and beat it on Maddening. Anything else in the game? Sure. Like, I will keep going on Maddening until I beat it or say, I can't do this shit no more. I'm beating this. And yeah, it's the best fucking part of the game. The music is great. The intensity is great. Just how stressful it was to keep everybody alive. Oh, it was great. I loved it. Like, that is probably my favorite level or favorite boss of anything I played this year. We'll see as we go down the list if there's anything that challenges it. This is our first S tier, man. I love Engage. I really, really love Engage. The Kingdom Hearts 3 data fights, which is how I ended the year. I think it is almost literally how I ended the year, because I believe I beat Master Xehanort on New Year's Eve. The old fuck. I hate him. I hate him so much. And yeah, a lot of that is his character. I don't really like his fight either. He was such a pain in the ass. But I did it. And I beat Yuzora. I beat him yesterday. So, as far as I am concerned, I am done with Kingdom Hearts 3. I don't love the physics to Kingdom Hearts 3. I don't like how floaty it is. I don't think it's nearly as tight as Kingdom Hearts 2. It takes away one of my favorite techniques or tools from KH2, which is quick running. I understand getting rid of Stitch. Stitch was broken. I understand Reflect. And I honestly liked not having Reflect, because I felt like I really had to learn the fights a lot more than I did in 2. I still had to learn them in 2. But you can get through a lot of, like, bullshit by Reflect spamming. Zuner. You don't have that option here. To get through the bullshit, you have to learn when to guard, and you have to learn when you can't guard and when to dodge. And it made the fights harder, I think, overall, because there were 2 insanely clutch crutches that just weren't there. But it did make the fights maybe not more satisfying, but still very, very satisfying to play through. I had a lot of problem with air stepping, because sometimes it just wouldn't work right. And sometimes I would air step over to something, and Sora was able to start comboing no problem. Other times there'd be this long delay, like almost like a wind-up before he would land the hit. And sometimes it would work. Other times the anime would say, like, yeah, I'm not open anymore. You shouldn't have wasted your time, idiot. That was all fucking annoying. But generally speaking, I think they were really fun. I hated Syx. Actually, like, what is the order? I mean, it's harder to do because, like, when it's the data fights in 2, I'm like, yeah, 1 through 13. I mean, there's 13 of them. But they have their organization number, so it's easier for me to keep track. I can't really do that here, so I'm gonna go off of memory. I guess I'm gonna go in order that I beat them. Larxene is fun. Asod I did not think was very fun. I just kind of found him to be a pain in the ass. Young Xehanort is super fun, to my surprise. Who was next? Next, I think, was Marluxia. Marluxia was a pain in the ass, but he was really fun. I enjoyed him a lot. Luxord, I don't know if it's just, like, the mechanics, if there's an ability that was on. I had trouble with his games, not because the games were hard, but because Sora would attack shit that he wasn't supposed to, that he wasn't locked onto, and that was annoying as hell. I also don't know how to beat his DM. I just kind of stumbled through it, didn't beat it, but then won the overall fight anyway, so it was okay, I guess. Xigbar is really fun and pretty easy. Who's after Xigbar? I think after Xigbar was Syx. Syx was a pain. I hated him. I think he is my least favorite fight. He is the one that comes to mind when I think of how shitty these were. I just hate him. That's 7. Who was after Syx? Was it Xemnas? Was it Xemnas? I want to say after Syx it was... No, it was Vanitas. Because I was like, I know there was someone else I beat that night because Xemnas was the next day. Next was Vanitas. Vanitas is super fun. You can just deny him his DM, and that's funny. I really liked being able to do that. Yeah, I thought his DM was a pain in the ass, and I had a lot of trouble learning it. The fact that I didn't have to was kind of gold. Xemnas, I think, is my favorite. It is a fantastic fight. I love his DM. Anytime I hear Xemnas talk, whether it's in 2 or in Dream Drop or in 3, I just get chills. His cadence, his voice. We shall go together. Why don't you vanish? Bind! It's like not that one as much, but just like a lot of his dialogue just... Ooh. Like, you know that scene in, I almost said that scene in Kingdom Hearts. That scene in The Lion King when the hyenas are talking. It's like, every time I hear that name, I get chills. Mufasa. Ooh. Do it again. Mufasa. Ooh. That's how I feel whenever I hear Xemnas talk. It's fantastic. Let's see. So that's 9. After Xemnas was... There's 4 left. Who am I missing? I know who 3 of them... Oh, Terranort. Terranort was the next one. Thank you. Terranort was definitely giving me some problems. He was way easier than Syx. I do think his fight is pretty fun once you understand how his pattern works. And then, like, yeah, he can do whatever the fuck he wants at the start. But there's only 3 things... In the internet, there's only 3 things to do. There's only 3 things he can do, and he will cycle through those 3 moves. And, like, it makes the fight easier to understand once you figured that out. After that was Riku. Riku is either right above or right below Syx. I hated that fight. The fight with Xion is terrible because I hate her mechanics, but it's also, like, the best one. Because it's so damn fucking fun to play and to learn, and I adored it. Man, fuck Master Xehanort. Me and all my homies hate Master Xehanort. I hate that dude, man. I don't hate the fight, but I was just having so many problems with it. It is definitely not my favorite. I don't know if I would say this was S tier. If I would say, yeah, this is easy. Of all the games I played, this was one of my favorites. Because there was just a lot of points of it that I just wasn't enjoying. But I also flew through it in just in about a week because I couldn't put it down. Because it was really fun. And even if I don't love the physics of Kingdom Hearts 3, it felt really good to just be playing Kingdom Hearts again and doing some super bosses in Kingdom Hearts. And while technically Yozora is not a 2023 thing, so I did Yozora this week in 2024, I did do them like right after this, and if you include fighting Yozora, it's definitely up here because that fight is really, really fun. Fuck. I am gonna put it up there. I'm gonna leave it up there. I can't help it. I have a problem. I love Kingdom Hearts. You'll never stop hearing me talk shit on it. But I love Kingdom Hearts, man. You know what else I love that started with a K? Klonoa. No, I don't think I can. I don't think for me it was quite an S tier experience. But boy, it probably got a better score than Engage did, because I don't feel like there's a lot... I don't even think I talked about Engage's story while talking about it. Hold on, I think I have to sneeze. That feeling where, like, I'm not sneezing yet, but I can just feel it building. So, I'm gonna pretend I'm not gonna sneeze and try to talk. Engage's story isn't really all that good. No. Are some of the supports, like, really dumb and weird? Yeah, but also, there's some really good ones. Like, pretty much anything with Panette, because Panette's great, or anything with Pandreo, because Pandreo is just as great. What do you know? They're siblings, and they're both equally awesome. A lot of the basic story is just like, hey, you gotta go to this kingdom, fight some shit, and the Dark Lord Sombrero is doing shit, and you gotta fight Sombrero, and it's whatever. But I feel like when you get into some of the later parts of the game, particularly when you are actively dealing with Veil, I think it gets a lot more interesting. Alir's backstory and the backstory chapter, the defect. I loved that. I thought it was great. And I really liked the final confrontation with Sombron. And I think a lot of it is because Sombron's like, I'm done. You guys don't have what I want. You're not worth my time. I'm just gonna leave. And the main character's saying, we're not gonna let you. You're such a massive piece of shit who's done so many awful things. You don't get to run away. And if you lose, you get a bad ending. Now, again, it's not a permanent bad ending. You could just, like, reload the fight. But I appreciate that there's a bad ending if you lose the final boss. I think that's really neat. That's really all I have to say about Engage's story. Like, it's not the strongest, but fuck, I think the gameplay is just that good that I'd put it in S. Klonoa, it's just so pleasant. The visuals are great. The soundtrack is great. The level design is fantastic. The camera is fantastic. Why is this not an S tier game? Hold on a second. I love everything about it. Does it have the most interesting story? No. That's like the only thing it doesn't have going for it, but I mean, I was just talking about how Engage's isn't that great. I don't know. It feels right to put it in A, though. I adore the production of this game, and I do like the mechanics. I did have a lot of fun with it. But for whatever reason, like, my vibe check is just saying it's not quite an S tier game. Like, I don't feel like I felt as satisfied playing Klonoa as I did throughout Engage, or as I did throughout doing those data fights in Kingdom Hearts, or again, if we're including Yozora, the Yozora fight in Kingdom Hearts. It's a great experience. It's hard to play. It's a fuck ton of dollars if you want to play it on original hardware. I didn't. I mean, I legally emulated it because Jose had it on his PS3. So I played that version, but it's still the original PS1 version. It was great if you have a chance to do that, which I don't think you can if you didn't buy it before, which sucks. But I think the Switch version is very similar to this, so it should be playable. I would recommend it if you can. It's great. It's super fun. I just don't know if I quite have it up here. I don't think I do. But fuck if it's not great. The Pokemon DLC. The Teal Mask and the Indigo Disc. The thing that a little bit ago I was like, what the fuck is... Oh, it's Terapagos. So, let's call a spade a spade. In terms of performance, this is here. Maybe even here. Because, dude, the performance is so bad. This one didn't feel as bad, but it's still Scarlet and Violet, so it's here at best. It's probably closer to here. This one, the level scaling is just weird. Because if you beat in the game, like, cool, all the wild Pokemon are like level 60 or like 65. Oh, that's kind of neat. So are the trainer Pokemon. Oh, okay. That's kind of neat. Yeah, their teams don't change, though. So, you fight level 65 Poochyettas and level 65 Vulpixes. Not Mightyettas, not Ninetales. Poochyetta and Vulpix. And boy, that takes away all the immersion and just makes these fights that aren't supposed to be, like, particularly hard, but boy, they're a fucking joke. But then there's the plot. And Ogerpon. And the lousy 3. And I'm like, fuck, I really like this. And I like Kirin. And I like Carmine. And just the problems that they have. But then there's the main conflict of, if Kirin knew the truth, he would tell everybody. So you can't tell him the truth. So you have to just lie to him and kind of treat him. You don't really treat him like shit, but you are actively lying to him. After he overheard the conversation, he's like, hey, look, I thought I made a friend, and now they're lying to me and treating me like shit. Well, that's just great. And I just don't really like the decisions made there. I don't really think that works. But then I see Ogerpon just smiling and dancing, and I'm like, oh yeah, this is great. Honestly, I'd probably put the Teal mask here. I feel like that's fair with what I was just talking about of C tier is neutral. I'm neutral on it because Ogerpon is like up here. The lousy 3 and like their battle theme, that shit is up here. And how much I genuinely enjoy Carmine and Kirin. But then there's the performance. And then just the actual plot events, which I just don't care for and I think are dumb. Like, I think the backstory is super interesting. Again, it's like everything with Ogerpon in the 3 is great. And then there's like the level scaling, which doesn't work. And the performance is just so bad. It's just so bad. Then we have the Indigo disc, which, I mean, wasn't great performance-wise, but I feel like it was better than this, so we take that. The level scaling is way better. It goes, I think every trainer is like 80, 85, somewhere around there. And, like, the teams, they're almost all double battles, and they use double battle strategies, and it's really neat. Kirin's team is very competitive. Like, he sets up weather. He has a fucking Incineroar, which I know Incineroar is a monster in doubles. Like, he's doing that shit. Drizzle Politoed to set up weather. His Dragonite, I know, has Hurricane because of weather. I don't remember if it had Extreme Speed. I think it had Thunder as well, also to capitalize off weather. What was the rest of his team? There's Hydrapple, which is the signature, which is a fighting type. Okay. I mean, I guess that takes care of its ice type weakness, but I remember saying when I saw it, I was like, cool, you took a Pokemon that was weak to Fairy and terrored it so that it's still weak to Fairy. I mean, at least you didn't do the Lysander thing, where you took a Pokemon that was neutral to Fairy, Mega Evolved it so it was weak to Fairy, and then acted surprised when it got one-shotted by the Fairy Legendary, you fucking moron. Who were the other Pokemon in Kirin's team? Oh, he had Grimmsnarl, which had dual screens. Did it have dual? It at least had one. I think it did have both screens. Like, there was that. Like, there was a lot of... I feel like there was genuinely a lot of thought and care put into some of these teams, how they interact with each other, especially Kirin's. That shit was great. Terapagos was great, because I watch Pokemon Horizons, so I actually care about this fucking turtle. And, like, the Stoa Terra type, like, I just think that's kind of neat. I think that's kind of cool. The fact that Kirin fucking catches it with a Master Ball as soon as it starts going to the player, and he's like, no, this one's mine! I thought was really funny. The actual fight with Terapagos just feels kind of long and not that great. It's not awful. Like, it's a raid, and Ogerpon was also a raid, but fighting Ogerpon and going through all the masks and, like, having a bond with this Pokemon, like, it felt great. The final fight against Terapagos was just kind of like, oh, okay, it's okay. I mean, I thought Briar, like, they were emphasizing kind of how nuts she was, and we were gonna do something with that, and then we just didn't, and that's kind of disappointing, and man, we're going into the deepest lair of Area Zero. Oh, cool. I'm ready to see some crazy cool-ass Pokemon, and maybe some new Paradox forms. That would be crazy. There's some new Paradox legendaries that were added. Maybe that's where we'll find them. No, the Pokemon, there's not a lot, and they're scripted encounters, so you can't even catch them. Oh, so what was the fucking point of going to the deepest parts of Area Zero? Just Terapagos. And I like Terapagos, but okay. There is this really neat scene, though. If you have Terapagos in your party and you go to the volcano in the Teal mask, which is where the performance is at its fucking worst, by the way. But you get a cutscene with the professor that I really like and think is really cool. Overall, I don't know. I kind of want to put them together. And that almost feels right. There's some parts of this DLC as well that I think are really cool, but there's some parts of it that I'm like, and I do think it kind of oh yeah, here's a bunch of legendaries that are all shiny locked. Man, I was actually looking forward to maybe hunting some of those, and now I can't. Thanks. Oh yeah, I can feel it. Let me just say this. The Trails / Kiseki series has become an all-time favorite of mine since I marathoned most of these fucking games in 2021. The Sky Trilogy is one of my favorite series of all time. It has my favorite game of all time in SC, and the other two ain't slouches either. The Crossbell duology, I have my problems with, but there's a lot of things about those games I really like. Copy and paste that, because it's basically what I could say for Cold Steel. I have my problems, but there's a lot of things I really like. I think Reverie is fun as fuck. There's parts of the narrative I don't really care for, but fun as fuck. Kuro 1 has some problems. I really don't like the final chapter, but so much of the game is, I love this cast. I love this city, this country, this world. Like, I really like Calvert. I love the story that was happening. This game made me cry. This game punched me in the dick, and then as I, like, squatted down, it punched me in the chin. And I got back up, and I kept punching back. Because, fuck, it is so, so, so good. The streak had to end somewhere. And it ended right here. I hate this game. I feel like the problems... I'm not going to go on a 4-hour-long rant this time. But I've done that. If you want to hear why I hate this game, there's a 4-hour-long video on my channel if you have the time. Which you don't. And I totally understand that. But it's there. I feel like all the things that made Kuro 2 really good just kind of aren't here. Like, the story being interesting, or the pacing being good, or me giving a shit about the cast. Because I feel like they're written so badly, so this kind of... the way the plot works is essentially... I don't want to say it. It's a choose-your-own-adventure novel. But instead of choosing your own adventure and saying, do you want to do this decision or this decision? And if you make the bad decision, bad things happen, so you learn to pick the other one. You have to pick the bad decision because you don't have an option. It just happens, and then the game goes, "Whoa! That was dumb! Maybe we should do something else." And I think to myself, yeah, that was pretty dumb. I'm really glad these characters made these decisions. I'm really glad these characters, who, as I've seen in the first game, can take care of themselves and are super badass, just can't now. Boy, I feel like these characters that I really grew to care about and respect are being written like shit so this plot can happen. And the plot isn't good, and the plot is wasting my fucking time. It's awful. It is sincerely awful. And if I was able to do what I wanted to do and have a truly everything tier list, and everything is in one tier, there would have been something below bottom of the fucking barrel. Because bottom of the fucking barrel would be like, this is the bottom of the fucking barrel game, movie, show, etc., etc., etc. And maybe some of those didn't actually have bottom of the fucking barrels, but you get what I mean. There would have been a few contenders. Under that would have been, of all of these, this is the worst, it would have been Kuro 2. I don't even have to think about it. I don't even have to hesitate. I would rather watch Home than Kuro 2, because at least Home is only an hour and a half. This was 70 hours. And I still have a post-game I have to do. I don't want to. I'm gonna do it, because apparently, like, there's enough, like, not for gameplay, but apparently there's, like, actually enough interesting shit that happens in the story. And given how hype Kai no Kiseki now sounds, like, okay, I gotta take a look. I gotta know. I gotta get ready for the next one. But fuck. This was bad. This was really, really bad. But this right here, this was wonderful. I loved it. I played a lot of this game with my friends, which just makes it a nice shared experience. I loved a lot of these levels and the crazy shit that was happening. I liked being able to play as my girl Daisy. I liked that it was a Strand type game, and the power of friendship got me through a lot of bullshit. I just had a great time, man. I got to see dancing, singing piranha plants. And then I got to see it again. This is an S tier game, and no one can convince me otherwise. Lunar the Silver Star and Lunar Eternal Blue. These games were not on my list when I started 2023. We were at a game store, and Clay found this one. And he's like, I've heard it's really good. I know it's a collector's item. I'm trying to increase my own collection of games. So I'm going to buy it, and I'm going to play it. But I'm busy, so I'm not going to play it yet. So I said, you know what? I'll play it. I will be... Oh man, I have like missed this entire game. Sorry, there's this Colts Texans game, which is basically a playoff game, and I've missed like the whole game. Fuck. I was doing some shit before, and I wanted to do this and then watch the end of the game, and I don't think I'm gonna have time. But you know what? I'm here to talk about Lunar. So I said, Clay, I will be our guinea pig. I will be the one to play this, and I will let you know, is it good? Is it bad? Is it dog shit? Is it God made this game? I will let you know. And if you've heard me talk about Lunar 1, you know I adore this game. I think this game is funny as fuck. I think it is charming. It is this weird, perfect blend of biting cynicism and genuine fairy tale optimism about how nothing is more powerful than the power of love. It is a curious thing. You make one man weep and another man sing. And it works. And it has this old ass 90s, 80s anime aesthetic that is so nostalgic and classic, and it just works, and everyone is a shithead to everybody. I went, like, people who play Trails will tell you you need to talk to every NPC. Because NPCs have their own stories, and they have interesting shit to say, and when big events happen in the plot, their dialogue can change to reflect that. And I think that's neat as fuck. I also don't do it. Like, I'm sorry, the game's already, like, 100-something hours, or, like, 80 whatever hours, with me just playing the game. I'm not just playing the game, I do a lot of side shit in these games. I try to 100% them, at least as much as I can. I have a lot to do without talking to NPCs. I tried to talk to everybody in this game to see all the funny shit, and I was rarely, if ever, disappointed. And sometimes you gotta talk to someone multiple times, and you will get funnier shit. Sometimes the funniest shit is not dialogue. It is stuff you find just looking around. Like, I found this one woman's diary from just, like, walking around the house. I didn't even know it was there. And then she's like, man, what was it? She's like, yeah, like, yesterday I was fucking the milkman, and then the day before, like, the gym teacher of the school. Like, man, I'm being super unfaithful to my husband. I'm like, what the fuck? This is so bad. This is amazing. And then you go to the town of Hicks, and the inbred jokes. It's like, man, like, the construction of this town is really impressive. Hey, what's more impressive is that they managed to nail anything that wasn't related to them. That fucking gets me. And then, like, this one dude, I think he's hitting on Nia, and fucking Nash calls him a genetically deficient leech, which is such a good put down. And then, like, the woman beside the dude is like, hey, I won't tolerate no two-timing man, cousin or no. And it's just, they quadruple down on the joke, and it's gold. There's this one town where I went to this dude's house and talked to him. He's like, yeah, I invited my I took my grandma away from her old town. Because after grandpa died, there was no one to take care of her. I just want to make sure that she's taken care for, that she's happy, and that she's okay. Okay. Good grandson. Then you talk to grandma, who's like my stupid fucking grandson. I hate him so much. I hate this fucking town. I hate that he took me here. I hate this stupid dude. And I was cracking up after talking to grandma. And I think I talked to her a couple times and she kept saying funny shit. The game's great. Like, the game's so fucking funny, and I love its aesthetic. If you've noticed, I haven't said much about the gameplay. I don't love it. It's why I can't put this in S tier, as much as I really, really want to. Really, really want to. I don't think I quite can. I don't quite love it. And in terms of gameplay, it's not like Eternal Blue is... Was it that much better? I think just some of the problems I had with Lunar 1 are kind of still there. But here's the thing, though. As much as I love the humor in Lunar 1, and I like the simplicity of its story, it's not the most interesting story. It's not the deepest story. Although there's maybe some moments here or there I'm like, oh, that was actually really cool. Do I like the cast? Yes. They're a bunch of assholes, and they're my group of assholes, and I adore them. Then you get Eternal Blue, where the stories actually really interesting now. And your characters are a bit more interesting now. They still have their flaws. Like, Lamina is a greedy piece of shit, and she is hysterical. And then you've got Ronfar, who just fucking can't stop gambling, despite him being a damn priest. you have Lucia, who's a non-playable party member, and it's weird because she just does not care or care about people or trust humanity, and it works really fucking well. And then you have your antagonists, and each of your main characters has a nemesis antagonist. And they're all really interesting, and the way your characters will interact with these characters, and what they have to overcome. Not just in the sense of, I have to overcome someone who's way stronger than I am, but I have to overcome a part of myself. Yeah, almost like a Persona 4 kind of way. Like, you have to face yourself so you can become stronger, the best version of yourself and whatnot, you know? And, it's great. It's sincerely great. And the final boss is ass. But it's also really fun. And narratively speaking, I mean, you're fighting Zhofar, like the embodiment of darkness and evil and blah, blah, blah. But there's this whole section, which is the culmination of Lucia's character development. And it's great. And then there's the end of the game. And I fucking cried when I got to the end of the game. It's like, wait, what? That's the ending? Nah, I'm doing the post-game, buddy. And then I did the post-game. I was like, yeah, there's some bittersweetness here. But it works. And then anytime Null is in the game, who's a character from this one, and he talks about Lunar 1 and the fact that he's still alive, boy, that hits hard. Like, oh, that's really fucking sad. I think you can tell where this game is going. I think you can tell where this game is going. That actually feels right. I'm not gonna commit to that yet, because I know there's some contenders here. And I might put a second game in there anyway, is what I'm not supposed to, but it's my list, I can do what I want. But, yeah, that, I really, really love this game. Oh, that goes there. Sorry, I fucking forgot that I stopped playing The Witcher 3. And I think it was a while into the game. Like, I was in Novigrad. I had done a couple aspects of it and a couple areas of it. I got to a point where I just said, I'm not having fun anymore. I think the story is really pretty interesting. I think the world is cool. I think the cast is great. I just don't like playing it. I don't like open world games because I don't like how fucking long it takes to get anywhere. I've always said, to me, Pokemon would be the exception of that because I just get to run around and catch Pokemon. And what do you know? I was right. But it's like, yeah, you get to explore this world. The world's so big, and like the city is so big. Yeah, that means it takes forever to get somewhere. Like, I don't like that. I like having the freedom to explore things. I don't like being forced to explore, either to meet some arbitrary goal so I can keep playing the game, Xenoblade X, or because the world is so big, I'm almost forced to explore it to get to the next place. It's why I like games with smaller maps. Mario 64, Banjo-Kazooie. I mean, Lunar 2, there wasn't a whole lot of, like, crazy shit to explore, but I was able to get to the story beats quicker, and I felt like what I was getting of the world was still pretty interesting. I still liked talking to all the NPCs and shit. This just didn't do it for me. I understand why people love this game. I can see the game that they love. I just didn't click with it as much as I wanted to. Scarlet Nexus. Fuck, this game is fun! Oh, boy! There's two storylines. There's Kasane And the other guy, Yuito, I think was his name. I didn't do his storyline. I just did Kasane's. I was like, I'm gonna pick the girl first and see how it goes. And by the time I was done, I was like, I think I'm good. I got the full story of the game. Like, okay, there's probably some gaps here and there that would get filled in with Yuito. And then I looked online and I learned that, no, like, there are bosses that you fight as Kasane Yuito never fights. And they're the best fights in the game. Like, oh, that's... So Yuito is just the inferior route. And then I look at the characters that he's paired with, that you can sync with and shit, and I'm like, oh, so you don't get Shiden and the electricity. You don't get, what was her name? I want to say it was like Nodoka or something? No. I don't remember now, but the clones. I was like, you don't get the clones, which sucks. You don't get, like, the invisibility. Oh my god. Like, you don't get the, oh my goodness. Like, the best fucking abilities. You just don't get them. And it's not like the abilities he gets are terrible. Like, the pyrokinesis is good, but I don't think it's nearly as good as Shiden's when I was using it. The, oh fuck, what is it called? I don't remember. The, clairvoyance, thank you. I mean, that one's okay. It has its uses, but I don't think it's as good as some of the others. What are the other abilities in the game? This is bothering me now. I think I have to look this up. I'm being bothered. What the hell? Oh, that's weird. Sorry, I just looked at the score and I was like, wait, the Colts got a safety? The fuck? Wait, what's happening in this game? I don't know, but it looks like the Texans are about to win, which I think means they clinch playoff spot. So there's a part of me that says CJ Stroud is probably rookie of the year, but Puka Nacua is about to break the rookie receptions record. Is it reception or yards? I don't remember, but he's about to break one of those, maybe two of those. And he's been balling all year, so it might just go to Puka Nacua. And the fact that the Colts are going to lose a playoff spot by about one game, the Browns more than earned their playoff spot, don't get me wrong, but the Colts genuinely, I think, got cheated in that game. That kind of leaves a bad taste in my mouth because of that. But genuinely, good job for the Texans. Anyways, Scarlet Nexus. What are the other powers that I am forgetting? Let's see. Kyoka, that was the name of the teleporting. Or, not teleport, yeah. The duplication. Thank you. I said the wrong thing, and now I sound like a moron. Oh yeah, the dude that can get hard and, like, really tough and strong. Is that a Kasane power? Because I think you have him as Kasane for a while, but I think he's in a lot of Yuito's gameplay. I could be wrong about that. Arashi is the velocity, and the velocity was, like, fucking dumb, and I loved it. Kagura is the invincibility. Sugumi is the clairvoyance, which it felt like kind of more marginally useful. Hanabi is the fire. Luca's the teleporting, and I think that's also one that Yuito gets, and not, I'm sorry, just one of the main antagonists is named Karen, which is spelled Karen, and I'm sorry, that's just fucking funny to me. It will never not be funny to me. Anyways, I'm sorry, I had a point. From playing Kasane, I got the plot of the game, I got better fights, and I feel like I got the more useful powers, so I kind of have no desire to go and play Yuito again. The plot of this game is all about time travel and weird time black hole shenanigans, and it's weird, and it's wild, and I never knew where it was going because it was so unhinged and fucking insane, and I mean that in the best possible way because I had a blast. But I could not put it down. I had so much fun playing it. It's like, games like this are why I can't just say that. Because playing this was so damn fun. And it's kind of the thing that makes me go, maybe I do need to be a lot more stringent with my S tiers. Because I loved Mario Wonder. I loved how fun it was. I loved how creative it was. Did I enjoy it as much? Like, do I really think it can compete with Eternal Blue or Scarlet Nexus? I don't. The Kingdom Hearts data fights, I had so much fun doing some of these. Scarlet Nexus was more fun. That feels right, though. I had so much fucking fun doing this shit that I think I can justify it being up there. I could still justify it being up there. I like that. I like this. That's good. That's fair. Fuck, this game is awesome. If you have not played Scarlet Nexus, please do. If Scarlet Nexus 2 comes out, I will be playing it. I don't know if it will. It's not currently on my list or my bingo card, but if it gets announced, if it happens, I'm going to play the shit out of it. I am so excited. Not because in terms of narrative it's a game that needs a sequel, but it's the kind of game where in terms of vibes, I need more of it. Yeah, I could just do Yuito again, but again, I feel like I'm playing the inferior version of the game, and I don't want to do that. Moving on to the 3 Tales games I played this year. Tales of Destiny 2. Tales of the Abyss. And Tales of Symphonia. So starting with Tales of Eternia. Because as you may or may not know, Tales of Eternia is what it is called in Japanese. However, in English, because Tales of Destiny was the first game to come out in English instead of Tales of Fantasia, my understanding is that they changed the title, not because Eternia is a He-Man thing, they wanted to avoid trademark, although there's rumors about that, but because, cool, Destiny is the game that everyone played. We'll call this Destiny 2 so they know it's the same shit, even though the 2 games are not related. Then later, Tales of Destiny actually got a sequel called Tales of Destiny 2. So I believe when I started my review of this, and something I frequently will say about this game is Tales of Destiny 2, not to be confused with actual Tales of Destiny 2, because that's just fucking funny to me the way that worked. I'm gonna be honest, Tales of Eternia is gonna stay right here. I think it's a C tier game. Maybe I could be convinced to give it a B, but I think it's about here. I like this game. I don't love this game. There's moments that I love, there's ideas that I love, and I think there's a character I love in Farah. I do love Merity, actually. It's like, Merity is just so fucking precious. But I feel like there's... I don't think, for me, it does a lot to really, truly stand out. It's the only Tales game, 2D OG Tales game I've played, so in that regard it stands out. But I plan on playing some others. I do want to actually play Destiny and Fantasia this year. So Eternia is not going to hold that distinction for very long. I think the cast... Reed! I was trying to remember what his name was, yesterday, and I could not remember. It's Reed. Reed, I think, is okay, but has some interesting shit later in the game. I think Farah is a consistently likable character because of how much I just love her energy. And then there's the moments where you're like, oh, that's interesting. Merity's backstory is super interesting. I can't remember the name of the 4th guy. Fuck. This is bothering me. The way you get your spells with, doing weird kind of fusion shit with your summon spirits, I think is kind of cool. I think it's kind of interesting. I don't know how much I love it, but I think it's kind of cool and kind of interesting. The going between different worlds and the connection they have and maybe destroying each other. What do you know? I think that's kind of interesting, but I think I've seen it better in another game. I think it's good. I am glad I played it. I am very glad I finally had the chance to play it. But it's not my favorite. It's not my least favorite. That's still Tales of Arise. But I think it's alright. Then there's this piece of shit. No, I can't. I can't. Even in jest, that feels too mean. Tales of the Abyss is an experience. And it's one that I'm still very torn on. On the one hand, the first act of the game is dog shit. I don't like these characters, and I don't really care about the plot they're trying to set up because of how much I don't like these characters. And I get it. They're supposed to be unlikable, and they get more interesting as the game goes on. Sure. I'm with people I actively don't like for about 10 hours. That is not a good first impression. But they do get really interesting. And they do get really likable. And when I start to get to know these characters and their backstories and their depth, I'm like, oh, fuck. There's some really interesting shit to Jade. And some really interesting shit to Guy. And to Annis. And to Tyr. And to Luke. Did I forget anybody? Oh, fucking Natalia! I'm like, I feel like I forgot somebody. I forgot my favorite character from the game. Fucking whoops. I love Natalia, dude. She's so good. But I'm like, yeah, like, these characters get so much more interesting as the game goes on. What game was I was talking about here in Eternal Blue, how every character has a nemesis and everyone has a foil. Same shit here in Abyss with the God Generals. And I really, really like that. Especially Natalia's. That's really good and really effective. Tales of the Abyss has one of the funniest exchanges of dialogue I've ever heard in a game. And I don't know if it's intentional or not. Because it's one of those where I'm like, there's no way this was unintentional. Where a character is about to die. And their plan is like, okay, if I'm going to die, I'm going to take you all with me. I'm going to blow something up and use it to self-destruct. And the character is, like, shouting out to someone who had previously died and that they're going to see again. They're like, Professor, I'm coming! And then Luke just says, we won't let you! And I laughed so hard at that. Like, I was bellowing laughter. It was amazing. But then I also remember, how much did I like the combat? I didn't hate it. I kind of liked it. I think I liked it. But boy, it really takes a while to learn some skills. Like, I replayed Symphonia. It feels like you get a lot of skills really fast. That is not what happens at Abyss. It feels like you do not earn a lot of money in the early game of Abyss. You definitely get more as it goes on. But boy, man, it's weird. And then I remember, just the entire second act of the game is great. And a lot of, like, your final encounters, and some of them in the third act are really good too. But I'm also like, I didn't like the antagonist. And not just in the sense of, man, this guy's a piece of shit. I don't like him. Like, no, I just don't like his character. I feel like he's written to be super interesting, but it just doesn't work for me. I just think he's really stupid. And the performance, not the voice acting. The voice acting is great. I think the character performances are great. The game's performance is bad. This game chugs. Traversing the overworld is so bad. Oh, there were times when I was leaving an area and the game just froze and I could hear the disc whirring and I was like, dude, I'm fucked. I have to reset the game. And then I didn't because it transitioned to the next screen, but it took way longer than it should have. Saving the game takes 30 full seconds because it's so slow. This game is 50 hours. And I feel like if it didn't run like dog shit, it would have been like a clean 45. And if the first act wasn't so ass, I would have enjoyed more of those 50 hours. And if I liked the villain more, I also probably would have really liked the third act of like, I feel like Tales of the Abyss is a terrible first act, an okay third act, with a god tier second act. The combat, the more I'm remembering, I'm like, no, the combat is fun, but the traversal of the world is so fucking bad. Story-wise, it's here-ish. I can make an argument for it being here. I can make an argument for it being here. General gameplay, like combat, I would say it's about here, maybe here. Performance-wise, it's here. It's awful. It kind of balances out to about here, but I want to put it up there because I do have a lot of respect for this game. And just like the legacy it has, the reputation it has, and that when I was done with it, my reaction was, I am glad I finally played it and saw it to completion. I don't think I should have been playing it for 50 hours. If you were able to make part of the game not suck, or make it not run like doo-doo, this game would not have need to have been 49 hours, or would not have felt like it was a travesty that it was 49 hours. But the parts that I loved, I really loved. Oh yeah, the opening is great. The music is really fucking good, man. I think it's a B tier game, all things considered. I really do. Then there's this piece of shit. Let's just put it where it belongs. This is one of my favorite games of all time. I have been looking forward to replaying Tales of Symphonia for so long. And I finally did. And I was so happy. I was having like late night, like 2, 3 a.m. in the morning sessions playing Symphonia. I was like, I don't have work in the morning. I don't have work for like 2 more days. I can have some like real gremlin gaming sessions and no one's gonna stop me. Which, to be fair, I did a lot with Lunar and with Lunar as well. It's so good, man. I love the cast. I love these characters. I love the gameplay. I love the combat. It's maybe not quite as good as Abyss because it doesn't have the free running, and I feel like it feels a little more laggy, but it still feels really good to play. Yeah, there's times where it can be a little bullshitty, like, where am I supposed to go? But for the most part, I think it's very good about that. There's a side quest with Rain meeting her family, and I was weeping when I got there. Like, I didn't cry. I fucking wept. It destroyed me, man. I love this game. I wanted to know, how well does it hold up? It holds up perfectly. It really does. Like, could I put Engage there over Symphonia? I can't. Can I put Eternal Blue there? I can't. I can't. It's like, that's how I know that's the double S. Like, I just can't. It's that important to me. This is a game that, for me, I'm like, this is like my Lord of the Rings. And I say that as someone who really likes Lord of the Rings. But in terms of just, like, this is something that had so much inspiration on me. With its world, with its plot, with its characters. It's like, this is something, because I was first exposed to it and experienced it. I was 9, 10, something like that. Formative years. And it left a huge impact on me, man. This is peak goated Kino with the sauce. And there's this. I liked it. I did not like the running segments. Actually, I really did not like the running segments. The, like, full visual novel shit. It's like, yeah, Sonic and his friends are going on it's Amy's birthday. They're doing a murder mystery on the train. That's a lot of fun. I think it's, like, really cute and really cool. I just did not like the actual running shit. I hated it. It made me not like the game. Man, I'm just kind of realizing, like, I don't have anything down here. Because even these, I'm like, that's not a bad game. No. I mean, you're kind of over there. But I'm saving you for when I talk about Xenosaga, like, in general. And No, that doesn't feel right. These two just don't really exist here. Like, this is the worst thing, but it doesn't go there. It goes there. Because, like, I don't want to really do it with these because they're games that I dropped. I feel like they should kind of have their own tier. I'll say this. From what I played of them, that I'd probably give a B for respect. That's maybe a B for respect because I liked what it was doing. That's probably like a D. That's a D. That's a D. This, I think I would have to actually put here because I really did not play enough of it. But, there's nothing really that's going to go in D or F. And I don't want to be like, yeah, let's make it more interesting because, no, I think it's more of a C. I thought it was kind of cute. I liked it. I think it's a really fun and neat idea. Most of the execution I really liked, but there was just enough of it to really take me out of it. This game is amazing. This game is amazing. This game is amazing. No, I can't do that. I can't do that. But no, I'm putting it up there, dude. I was talking about with Wonder. I played a lot of this game with my friends. And that made it a really enjoyable experience. I played the entirety of this with one of my friends. And it felt like the first time in a while we had really just sat down and played a game together. Because we did it with Rayman Legends. Like, we used to do this shit all the time. I remember when we did it with Rayman and how fucking fun it was. And this game, to me, this is like the platonic ideal of a platformer. I want good levels. Bam. Level design is great. I want, like, fun, weird, goofy enemies. Bam. You're fighting these weird Viking... nomadic Norwegian penguins and polar bears and shit. What else do you want? Give me like fun, cool bosses. Bam, done. The bosses are great. Make the music great. The music's great. Okay, just make the visuals great. Make it pop. Make it colorful. Bam, got it. What else do you want? Bonus levels. Like, fuck! It does everything right! It's so good! It's so good! When's the next one? When's the next Donkey Kong Country? I want to play it! Because I played Returns 2022. I was like, fuck, it's really fun. And that's why I had to play Tropical Freeze. Also, I was like, I really want to play Tropical Freeze. I've heard Returns is good, but I think if I play Tropical Freeze, I won't want to play Returns. Let me play Returns first. I was like, yeah, Tropical Freeze is that good. When are we getting the next one, man? It's... Fuck, dude. It's good. It's really, really good. I'm going to skip these three. Because I'm going to talk about them together. I feel like it's a good place to end, especially because aside from the data fights, this was the last game I played. So I'm going to go and talk about Fatal Frame 2, Crimson Butterfly. This game is important to me. Because there is a phenomena in video games that you may or may not be aware of. If you watch my channel regularly, especially if you watch my video on this, you'll know what I'm talking about. Where some games have a walk button, where your character's normal speed is they'll run. But if you hold a button, they can walk. Xenosaga has this. And there's this great interaction where if you mash the walk button while moving, your character will be, like, doing the animation for their walk and their run at the same time and will just kind of stutter step their way forward. And it's so weird and so goofy that I love it. And if I am playing a game where I can do this, I am gonna do it. Not throughout the whole game. I'm not a monster. But I am gonna do it a lot. And I used to call this stutter stepping, because that's how it looks. But then, I was blessed by Fatal Frame 2, Crimson Butterfly. Which I didn't plan on giving it the Ruby Gilman Teenage Kraken treatment where I call it by its full title every time. But I might just end up doing that. This game has the greatest stutter steps I've ever seen. And yes, I said steps. I made it plural because depending on when you push the button, there are different animations. And your girl is just gliding across the screen. And it's glorious. So I realized I have to give it a different name. I can't just call it stutter stepping. I have to name it after Fatal Frame 2, Crimson Butterfly. So what is it? Is it the Fatal Step? Is it the Crimson Step? The Butterfly Shuffle? What's the name of the village? Where does this game take place? All Gods Village. The All God Shuffle? The All God Shift? I don't know. Doesn't quite roll off the top. What's it called in Japanese? Minakami. The Minakami Shuffle. And thus, that is where I got the term, the Minakami Shuffle, which is something I talked about in Xenosaga. I love the Minakami Shuffle. I actively look for the Minakami Shuffle when I play games. And that was perfected by Fatal Frame 2. No matter what else happens in this game, no matter what else I say, it is not going lower than a B tier simply for its perfect Kami-like Minakami Shuffle. As for the game itself, it's fine. That is definitely me underselling it. But I think the mechanics are really cool. The idea of fighting a ghost by taking its picture, I think is really neat. I love the atmosphere in this game. I love how creepy this game is. I've heard that the ghost designs aren't nearly as creepy here as they are in other games, but there are still some that I really liked. I remember really enjoying the fight with the twins. Let's see. I don't like that you can only get the true ending. I don't even know if it's the true ending, because it's not the canon ending, but you can only get the best ending by playing the game on hard, which is not something I inherently mind, but you can't do that until you beat the game once. Like, you unlock hard. And I think that's just shitty. I didn't have to do that because Clay played it first, and then I played it after. I was like, you're making me want to play this game. I think I'm going to do it. But I just don't like that kind of shit. It's one of the reasons I don't like reading Klonoa. The fact that I have to read through After Story multiple times to get the true ending, rather than just, yeah, if you make all the right choices, you can fucking do it. This is designed to waste my time, and it bothers me. But I'm far enough in, like, I want to read After Story. I think the lore in Minakami Village, I love Minakami Village as a setting. It's creepy as hell. There's fucking dolls everywhere. Some of the puzzles I think are pretty fun. I love the lore of this place. It is super fucked up, man. It's great. It's great for a horror game. But I said there's a but. And to me, the but is the ending. I will not go into it and spoil it here. But my problem I have with the ending is not the ending itself. Because I can see it working in a lot of circumstances. I just wish it was, especially because I know there's versions of the game that have multiple endings, I wish it worked like Silent Hill 2. Where the way you get your ending is not just, you beat the game, here's the ending, or you made a random choice here that changes everything. It is how you play the game. Depending on how close you were to Maria, depending on how often you looked at Mary's picture, how often you looked at the knife, if you, how quick you were to heal, I think like, how quick you were to save your game and shit. There are a lot of factors where how you play the game is what shapes the ending of James Sunderland. And it's awesome. It is so good. It is so fucking interesting. And I feel like with the ending that Fatal Frame 2 goes for is so ludicrously out of character for, it's Miyu and Mayu. I don't remember which one is which, unfortunately. But it feels so out of character for our protagonist. But if it's something that's based on how you played the game, you can deserve this ending, I could see it. And honestly, I thought that's how the game was doing it. And then I found out that no, it's just the ending. It kind of doesn't matter that it's out of character because ghosts and shit, but also you beat the ghosts, so what are you talking about? Like, it does leave kind of a bad taste in my mouth. Now, not enough to put it here-ish, especially because the Minakami Shuffle refuses to make it go any lower than this. But it does, like, it's not going up here. I can't put it up here, and I don't think I can put it up here quite either. I think if I liked the ending, it would be up here. But I think I would keep it there. And now, Xenosaga. 1, 2, 3 is Ichi-ni-san. I was heavily looking forward to playing this all year. The buddy of mine that I played through Tropical Freeze with got me this game a long time ago. And I'd forgot I had it for a while, and then I was like, fuck, I should play it. And then I didn't. And then I had access to it, and I just still didn't. So when I made my list in 2023, I said Xenosaga has to be on there. I am going to make an effort to play these. And I had another friend who owned 2 and 3. I was going to borrow them from. Then he was going to sell his game, so I was like, shit. I just got my tax refund. I'm getting 2, and I'm getting 3, so I can have access to them. So when I play them, I can play them. And then, as you may or may not know, I didn't play 2. I don't like the redesigns of the cast. I think they look awful. The little bit I played of the prologue is like, I don't really like what they're doing with the battle system. And from everything I understand, the battle system fucking sucks. And a lot of the decisions, gameplay, like game design-wise, sound awful. But I watched the cutscenes, so I know what happened, and there's some really good shit in there, actually. I really love all the shit with Junior and Albedo and Sakura. It's fantastic. Shion, I don't know. But I do know how much I like Shion here, and I like her a lot. I have my problems with Chief Uzuki, but I really like this character. Cosmos' introduction in 1 is one of the coolest fucking scenes I've ever seen. This is some badass Terminator shit, and I think it would be perfect for a Smash Brothers trailer. Some of the other shit that she does in this game is awesome. So a lot of the shit she does in this game is awesome. This game has the boob knife, which is dumb, and I love it. For obvious reasons, and also because, okay, that was actually kinda cool. It's dumb, it's sexy, but it's also kinda cool. Both of these games, I think, are fun to play. Xenosaga 1 it's fun in spite of itself, because there's just a lot of shit in the game that doesn't work for me. I think a lot of the way the boss fights are designed are kind of bullshit. The fact that you can't see a lot of your skill tree or learn what abilities do until you select them is really bullshit. But the base combat system and the turn buffs and shit, I really like. And the AP system is not my favorite, but it serves the more slow-paced tactical nature of gameplay. I really like that. And everyone having their own unique boot, or like their own, not unique, but own like personalized boost gauge makes the game more tactical. I really like that. When there's music, namely the cutscenes, it's really good. The battle theme is really good, but there's almost no dungeon music. And even when you're just, like, exploring places in the overworld, there's not a lot of music there. And, like, I get it. It makes you feel like you're in the vast emptiness of space. But I'm not just in space. Like, I'm in, I don't know, something. Or, like, in a ship. There could be some kind of music. It bothers me that there were times. It's like, I feel like it's here intentionally, and it's supposed to be atmospheric, but it feels lazy. But boy, whenever you get music in cutscenes, it's fantastic. And I do really like the battle theme, and I like the final boss theme quite a bit. Also, Erde Kaiser go Burr, and that shit is great. The characters, Xion is great. Kos is great. There's also Alan. Here, Alan is great. Here, he's just kind of a meme, but I like the poor dude. I did not find Chaos interesting in this game. I'm like, I still don't know why his name is lowercase. It just bothers me. Momo in this game, I think, is okay. I don't hate her. I don't particularly like her either. Junior, I think, is really interesting. And Ziggy's my fucking boy. Then over here, Xion is the star of the show. Kos is great. Alan is great. Ziggy, when he gets stuff, I think is really good. I really like Momo in this game, but I think a lot of that is gameplay. Junior is good. Chaos is more interesting. And then this introduces Jin, and I fucking love Jin. Both of these games are really fun. Although, I know there were parts of Saga I just didn't care for gameplay-wise. This has Chapter 8. Chapter 8 is fucking terrible. Chapter 8 is dog shit. Chapter 8 is, like, down here. It's not something that completely tanks the game. Like, there's parts of Kuro 2 that completely tanked it, and it was already not, like, on my good side. I feel like Chapter 8 is why the game can't be up here. And it's what keeps the game from being up here. But it's a very strong here. And I feel like I would put one right beside it. Okay. Maybe it's more here. No, this feels right. Because I do like it. I feel like I have a very, very strong soft spot for Xenosaga 1. It has its problems. There are things I don't care for. There are things that I definitely complained about and shat on. While playing it, and then when I made my video on it. But as time has gone by, I'm like, no, I like this game a lot. I really, really fuck with this game. And I feel like 3 is an improvement in almost every way. But it's not quite up here. And I don't think the things that hold 1 back bring it down here. So I think that's the gaming list. I mean, this is easy. This is easy, because they're the games I dropped. Yeah, I mean, it's Pokemon. I always want to put Pokemon higher, but I think that's probably accurate overall. Gosh, all the fucking BP grinding. Yeah, no, the BP grinding is shit. You get to stay there. This feels right. This feels right. I can maybe see it up there. This is accurate. If not, it'd be down here, but I like the first 2/3 so much. This is accurate. This is accurate. Maybe. I could maybe see it, but I think I'm going to leave it here. I put Bioshock on the same tier as some of these. Yeah, Bioshock is a lot like this game, where there's this whole chunk of the game that I just did not enjoy playing. Well, I guess with Final Fantasy IX, it was I just didn't enjoy playing the game almost period, but the story carried it for a lot of it. Here, I enjoyed quite a bit of playing it, and the story was really interesting. Yeah, I think I'm going to keep Bioshock up here. Come on, Klonoa. Klonoa is definitely here, if not up here, but I think I would still keep it. I don't know. The vibes feel good, though. The vibes there do feel right, because this game is really good, man. But fuck it. Wahoo! I'll keep it up there for now. This, I want to put up here, but I think the gameplay holds it back, and the fact that this one is, like, for me, leagues above better means I don't think I can put it up here. Like, as much as I said, this is an improvement over this one, it's not so much of an improvement for me that it kind of does away with what Xenosaga, like, they can't be on the same tier anymore. This one, to me, is that much better that it is. And I feel like a lot of that is story reasons. This, I do really like this game, though. This, I think, can stay here. These are down here. And like I said, like, this is S, this is S, this is S, this is S. That's the double S. I want to put these two in S, but maybe I shouldn't. Maybe I should just leave them in A, so the S feels a little more exclusive. Like, I didn't enjoy this as much as I enjoyed Tropical Freeze. I loved it. I really did, but I can say that. I don't think I enjoyed this as much as Tropical Freeze. I didn't enjoy this as much as Scarlet Nexus. I loved it, but I didn't. So, the fuck? You're supposed to be there, because, you know, one goes before three. I think that'll do it for the video games. So all that's left are the movies and the reading project. So I've done 3 of these today. This is Saturday. It's, what, like 11? Fuck, it is 11 on the dot. How long have I been doing this video? I have no idea. I'm kind of scared to find out. I'm not going to do the other 2 today. I think I'm going to be busy tomorrow. I might be able to do one of them tomorrow. But hopefully before the next Thursday video, I will be able to finish the other 2. I don't know when I will upload all of these, because I'll probably want to put timestamps on them, which means it's going to be a bit. But hopefully soon-ish. You have a good day. Congrats if you're a Houston fan. I think you guys clinched a playoff spot with that win. If you're a Colts fan, I'm really sorry.